Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far. So today I'm here to talk to you about the new love of my life, and that is of course the Pat McGrath Mothership VII. I think we're calling this now. Originally just Divine Rose, now she has come out and called it Divine Rose Mothership VII. So this is what it looks like. I'm sure you have seen it all over social media. Everyone went absolutely nuts when we saw this, including me. So if you don't know the drama surrounding this palette, it originally popped up on Selfridges app. Not the website, just the app, for about an hour before it was completely sold out. And then Pat explained that basically this was a limited edition palette. It was supposed to be an Asia exclusive as far as I understand it. Don't quote me on that because the details surrounding exactly what the intentions were and are for this palette are very foggy and seem to be changing on the daily. So apparently this was originally launched in Asia only, and then Selfridges app had an exclusive mini amount of palettes that went like that. Then I feel like people started to see it. Obviously you can ship internationally from Selfridges. People started to review it, and I think at that moment Pat McGrath Labs realised the absolute pandemonium this palette was causing, and then did another little mini release on her own website, and it briefly appeared back on Selfridges again, which was probably like a return of a few palettes or something like that they cropped up back on the Selfridges app. So she re-released this, or released this, on her website, and again it was sold out again in a couple of hours. She also did like a meetup and a giveaway in New York, I think, with the palette. I mean, it was confusing. It was a lot. There was a lot of stress, a lot of panic, and it was sold out so fast. Now Pat has said that this is limited edition and that's it, it's gone. But she has also kind of been hinting back and forth as to whether it may reappear at some point. Obviously she has now called it Mothership VII, and as far as I understand it, her Mothership palettes, these larger palettes, are generally permanent. So I don't know. I just generally feel like anything that is limited edition initially, there's always the potential for it to come back or for it to be permanent, especially when this has been proven to be such a popular palette that people are desperate to get their hands on. It's on eBay for like 3 times the price now. So I definitely think if we make enough noise, if we keep on asking, and Pat, I'm sure, has noticed how well this palette was received. So I wouldn't be surprised if it did come back and it was made permanent. So I purchased this from Pat's website. She also did a 10% discount on this, so I was able to get it for 10% off, which was really, really good. It arrived very, very quickly, packaged beautifully as everything with Pat McGrath. I instantly fell in love as soon as I saw this. I feel like in person it's so much more beautiful even than the pictures do it justice, and the swatches of this palette are very, again, this shade looks white in the pan, white, and I thought, well, that's probably one of the ones I'm not going to use. That's actually what I've got in the centre of my lids today. And as you can probably see, it's actually a pink. It's a very gorgeous pink shimmer, and it is stunning and one of my favourite shades in the palette. I don't usually do swatches when I do these reviews and like eyeshadow looks type videos, but I feel like generally by the time I get my hands on a palette and able to get my review up, you've seen swatches done to death. But I am going to do them with this palette because I feel like the swatches are so different to what the shades look like in the pan, so I think it will be helpful. If you were just here for the tutorial, then I will let you know when the tutorials start down here. I've done 5 looks for you today, so hopefully that will give you a nice number to work with. So here are the top row of shades, and this is that pinky shift. It looks white in the pan, it kind of looks a bit white there as well, but on the lids it is a glorious pink. And then this is the bottom row. I feel like this mahogany shade didn't swatch very well, but it does perform stunningly on the lid, so don't be put off by that. So here are the swatches, and honestly they just don't do the palette justice whatsoever. They are so much more beautiful than they even look here when you use them on the eye. So the only thing really I can tell you about this palette is I am absolutely in love with it. I think it's the best formula I've ever used. The mattes are insane, just beautiful, and they build so well. So although you only have 2 mattes, which is one of the things I was nervous about with this palette, because I do like some mattes, so these 2 shades are the mattes in the palette, so I was a bit nervous, but their mattes, Pat McGrath's mattes, blend so beautifully and they build incredibly well. So you can use it as a really light wash, but you can then build the same shade on top of itself to almost create a second or even a third level of depth. So you do have more options than it looks like. I will also say these 2 shades here that look like shimmers, and I guess they are shimmers, but they're more of a pearly finish than a shimmer or a metallic or a glitter. So these can absolutely be used on the kind of lid and also in the crease, or as like a sort of transition shade between crease and lid shade. So it does actually give you more versatility than it perhaps looks, given that it just has the 2 mattes. I only have Mothership V as well as this one, so I don't have any repeats. There are some 3, I believe, repeat shades in here, as well as a shade that is a repeat of one of her highlights. So if you have her entire collection of Motherships, you are going to have some repeat shades in there. But this is the only other Mothership that I have, and this works so beautifully with Divine Rose, because you've got this gorgeous aubergine shade as well as this deeper pink, and then this sort of rosy gold shade. So a lot of the tones in here work gloriously well with Divine Rose, so that has been an extra bonus for me. But I will say that I find the formula in Divine Rose is to be even better than Mothership V, especially as far as the mattes. The mattes are the best mattes I've ever used. Obviously we know her shimmers are absolutely life-changing. I also really like that this white shift shade that's actually a pink on the eye is so opaque, because usually I find that she has at least a couple of shades that really are toppers. So this is definitely a topper, but again, built up as you saw in the swatch, you can use this on the lid as its standalone shade, or use it as a topper like I did today in the center of my lid over the top of this shade to give it more glittery, sparkly goodness. But again, this shade here that looks like it might be quite sheer can absolutely be used on its own on the lid. So I feel like she's absolutely nailed the shimmer, matte, sparkly, glitter, topper ratio in here. I feel like when there's only a couple of mattes and then there's a couple of topper shades, you always feel like, or I feel like, I'm missing something. And if there's even one shade in a Mothership palette that you're not going to use, you know, that's 1/10 of the palette. So that's why I haven't got more, because I always feel like with the other Mothership palettes that there is one shade I won't use very often, I won't get use out of. In here, I'm going to use every single shade in here every day of my life. You can easily do everyday simple looks. You could easily do a blown out, really date night, really big New Year's Eve look, whatever you want. It's very versatile. Every single day of your life you're going to be able to use this palette. So I am absolutely in heaven. I've been obsessed with it. I'm struggling to use any other palettes because I just love it so much. If you know me, you'll know that these are my absolute favourite tones. I love pinks and mauves and rose golds and all of those sort of shades and tones in my absolute heaven. So this palette was totally made for me. I adore it. So now I'm going to get straight into my tutorials. I've got 5 looks with this palette for you. I really hope this is helpful, and like I said, if you want to see this palette back, if you didn't manage to get your hands on it, keep on commenting on Pat's Instagram, emailing her. Anything can happen, anything can be done. Nothing has to be limited edition, I don't believe. I feel like everything can come back if we shout loudly enough. See you in the next one.
She's a Mona Lisa. Everyone's lining up to see her. She's a Mona Lisa. Everyone's lining up to see her. There must be something about her features. You'll find her beauty goes much deeper once you get to meet her. You see her walking down the boulevard. She got the posture of a superstar. She looks so fly in those Gucci slides. Yeah, yeah, I wonder what she hides under her disguise. Yeah, 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 yeah. And all the girls around the world, they wanna be her. And all the dudes are trying to score like it's fever. She lives a double life, puts on a show. What's under the subtle smile, we'll never know. She's a Mona Lisa. Everyone's lining up to see her. There must be something about her features. You'll find her beauty goes much deeper once you get to meet her. She's a Mona Lisa. Everyone's lining up to see her. There must be something about her features. You'll find her beauty goes much deeper once you get to meet her.
Let me paint a picture. I see they don't understand. Feeling like Picasso. She brushing against my hands. Seen you from around the way. You didn't give me the time of day. You be making moves that year. Who really care what Simon say? All the bad things, girl, I had to look past that. Call yourself a dime, I'm just trying to get my cash back. You be looking fine, so no wonder they can't match that. Louis V scarf, or I'm chilling with a dad hat. Whoa, slow it down like that. Just hold me down like that.